And once again, I'd like to welcome everybody back to the Buffalo History Channel as we are progressing through our fall 2023 season. Now, earlier this year, you saw we did a double series. We focused on Buffalo's Black media, particularly in radio with the Legends of Buffalo Radio, and on television with the Soul of Buffalo TV. Got a very unique interview. I'm going to take some things in a brand new experimental direction. Going to talk to some of Buffalo's DJs, and one of the DJs this guy right here couldn't do it without this guy right here. This is one of Buffalo's one of the Buffalo legends right here. Been in the DJing game for a long time. He's going to teach us some things about DJing. Going to learn a little something tonight. Even I'm going to learn some things. Okay, I'd like to welcome the legendary DJ Stony to the Buffalo History Channel. DJ Stony, welcome.
How you doing, Doug? And thank you for having me.
Hey, man, it's great to have you with us, man. Great to have you with us.
And thanks for the intro. I didn't really deserve that,
but I don't think it. I mean, we all say it, but it's always good. I'm starting to learn as I get older. It's always good to get your flowers while you can get them, man.
No doubt.
No doubt. Okay, so the best place to start, man, is from the beginning. Where did it begin for you? What made you want to get into DJing?
It seems like I always had a thing for music, and when I was small, growing up, I'm 63, so I'm taking it back when we used to have component sets.
Yeah.
Record players that look like furniture. So, I used to like hearing music on the radio. And, back in the day, we used to collect 45 records.
Right.
And, my mom had a big collection. So I would hear a song on the radio. And by some chance, I was like, wow, what if I can find the record that my mom had in her collection and match it up with how it plays on the radio. And by the, back in the day, I was like 10, 11, DJing wasn't, it wasn't even thought of yet.
Right.
And but I used to always want to try to match, go hurry up, find the song and try to match it up at the point that you're hearing it on the radio. So you had to grab the 45, put the little discus in the circle of the 45, put it on the spindle, and back then it was the automatic arm, so you had to wait for the arm to come over and go down on the record, and then you had to find your spot. And I used to do that, and I was like, sometimes I was successful and sometimes I wasn't, but at that early age, I thought of trying to put music together, and I guess it started then when I had the affinity for music and trying to make it work. And, I never played an instrument, I would like to have learned, but it was so time consuming trying to learn. So I always loved music. So as I got older, in the late or early 70s, the art of, the disco scene started to come through. I was too young to hit the disco scene, but there used to be a disc jockey on UFO radio and later on WBOK in Buffalo, and his name was Keith Pollard.
Yes, the Discotizer.
The Discotizer. And his style was unbelievable. He had the perm. He was well dressed. The way he put music together was unbelievable. So I patterned myself at like one day I want to be like him. And like as I gotten older, I got my first break at the hottest club in the city. It was called the Vermilion Room.
Yes,
and I was
the place where you go up to get down.
Yes, and so it was a DJ up there by the name of George Gully. But
yes.
Before that, it was a Mad Cab. It was a Lamont, Sam and Moses.
Yes.
And, at the time, I didn't really know how to DJ. I just had the principle because I used to hear Keith Pollard all the time. So I went up to the Vermilion Room, and that club was banging. So I went up and I said, George, hi, my name is Stony. Uh, I would like to, see how, I can get up here. So he said, well, come back next week and we'll see what you know. So I never showed.
Really?
No, I didn't. I was because I really didn't know how to DJ, but
By the way, you said you were 19 at the time, correct?
19.
Okay.
Yep. And so I went up to the club like the following 2 weeks. He said, man, I thought you were coming through. I said, yeah, but, I'm here now, whatever. So he really gave me my break. So it was a slow night, and he let me get on. And I was like, wow, I was trying to figure out because we didn't have monitors back then. So
Okay.
you had to listen to that house sound. And because I was in a booth excluded, I had to actually tune my ear into the music that was playing on the dance floor. So
Mm-hmm.
if you really didn't pay attention, you would get a delay and your mixes would sound messed up. So I first got on and I was like, wow. And then it seems like I was doing it. For some reason, it seems like the beats were matching. And then as I got up into, the following weeks, I was able to play live in front of people. I was a little nervous, but, as time went on, it seems like it came natural. So, I think 79 was my big break in a big club. And I had to show because Trunas, the owner,
Right.
he didn't play. If he saw a gap in the dance floor, he would come back there and say, "Get those people on the floor," because his thing was you make people dance, they get tired, and they buy drinks. So it was incredible how
Yeah.
I actually got my training from Trunas because I was so scared to have that floor empty. So you had to forecast what goes next, how to transition. All of this was learning on the job.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what were some of the I mean, many of us have heard throughout the years, those of us that are younger, about the parties at the Vermilion Room, and particularly the parties that were done by Lamont, Sam, and Moses. Can you give us an idea of what those what it was like for you to be up in those parties just in that environment like that?
Well, basically, that era was a different time when people went out to have fun. It wasn't about standing around trying to look cool. It was about
Right.
actually having fun. So I was lucky to come up in a good era. Uh, and those parties, because back then you played music nonstop, and it wasn't about sitting down. It was about how long you can go. Because they used to make records like your Parliament Funkadelics used to make a record like 15 minutes long because it was all about dancing. And we took that 15-minute record and made it even longer. Your Rick James music, uh, your GQ, disco nights, all of that stuff was long because it was an era for dancing, and it was nonviolent. It was just a party. It was tremendous party. It was great. Those times back then, it was nothing like it. I mean, sweat. You didn't have a good time unless you were dripping wet, and I was lucky to be a part of that. They always give the credit to the DJ, but it goes hand in hand. You got to have a good sound system, a DJ that can mesh with the people's attitude of wanting to dance, and we helped each other out. It was a great time.
What are some of the other than the Vermilion Room throughout? Because you've been in the game a long time. So are there any? I'm sure you've done. Certainly, you've done many events and many parties. What are there any that's any events or throughout the years in the city of Buffalo that you've played that really stand out to you throughout your years?
I think the foremost it was a Vermilion Room, but Mickey Rats on Main Street was a good place. We had Sensations, that was a good place.
Yes, yes.
We had the Rainbow Club, what was a good place. That was on Bailey. We had Jasmine's, that was a good
Oh yeah.
place.
Hmm.
So pretty much, we had good we had a good party as atmosphere in Buffalo. Even the clubs I didn't play, like Cotton Club, Sylvester's, Club Etc. It was a lot of clubs, and the party atmosphere was different. So if you were a DJ coming up in that time, quite naturally you get to shine.
And
You
of
know,
course, the DJs also had opportunities through the years to make their way into some of the radio stations at Wuffle and WBLK.
oh
Did
yeah.
you? Yeah.
Oh, was the question, did I ever get on the radio?
Yes.
I was lucky enough to get on the radio. We used to do Throwback Sundays, and with the co-host DT, real crazy dude, and we had fun. So I used to do a couple hours on Sundays, and it was all about old school,
Mhm.
playing music, transitionally. So it was a good time.
Okay.
But
Yeah, but yeah,
I
go ahead.
I never had the radio voice. I always put it on. Hi, I'm DJ Stony. I don't have I never had the voice. And I never really talked behind the mic. I really was behind the music.
When I look at but as we talked about DJing and getting into radio, many times I would when I throughout my years in radio, I would always find myself correcting people because people would call me like a DJ, and I always say I ain't a DJ. I don't be spinning the records like that. I'm mostly a jock and an on air personality because I've always had a respect for the craft of DJing because I know you back in the day. I know y'all used to spin the records, and today, things have become more modernized. I see the system and setup you got there now with I believe it's called the Serato. I'm not sure if that's what it's called that you have there, but
Yeah,
I know.
I'm sorry. Back in the day, Doug, we came up with two turntables and a mixer playing on vinyl.
Yeah,
And, that was a little, that's how it was. And, you know, uh, they made it more convenient now, all in one unit. And it's called a controller because you can control, instead of records, MP3 files.
right.
And the music program is called Serato, or you have Virtual DJ, you have
Gotcha.
Tractor, you have DJ Pro, whatever. But it's various programs that virtually you can see the movable platters, whether you're using turntables or a controller like I have in front of me. But it made it so easy and convenient for the DJ to not carry vinyl anymore because you really can't get vinyl like that anyway. So everything is MP3. You virtual on your computer and you control it with the jog wheels. So it made it easier for somebody like myself because I couldn't see at 63 carrying. I have a bad back as well, so I couldn't
Yeah.
see carrying records and lugging big turntables.
But I'm sure when y'all look back on that, those were definitely the days where you cut your teeth with it if you you really wanted to be in the game.
No doubt, because that's all we had. That just like saying we didn't have cell phones back then, but
Right.
wow, they were great now. And a lot of younger DJs take flack because they didn't come up in the era that I came up in. It's not their fault. Um, Life is easier as a DJ now, and it's all good. and I respect everybody who takes this craft up because it's a great art form.
Are there any up and coming DJs that you've had to mentor or like pour into and show them the game?
No, because they don't want to hear from me. They do their own thing. Everybody has their own style, but hopefully, some of the young cats heard me play before and try to take ideas on how to put music together. But for the most part, uh, DJs do their own thing, and if they need any advice, I'm here. But no one really came up and asked anything, But hopefully, I'm still relevant.
Oh yeah, oh you definitely are. You most definitely are. I'm as I'm sitting here listening to you, I'm thinking back to when I was in radio between BLK and Wuffo. I've had about two instances where I actually DJ an event. That one was first experience was at I forgot what the place is called now, but back in the day, people will remember it as Arena Roller Rink
Yes.
on in East Amherst, and it was for a skating party that they tried to have back in 2001. I used to hang out there as a kid, by the way,
Right.
back in the early '80s, and for the first time in 2001, I was going up. I was hosting the event, but I was also up in the had to be up in that booth, that high up in that booth.
Yes.
And I wasn't dealing with records. I was dealing with CDs going from
Right.
one CD to the next.
Yeah. Before
And
the controllers, it was
yeah.
CD players.
And
Yeah.
I dealt with the controller when I was at Darren Doc Thomas's place on Genesee Jazzies. I did a neo soul night, and I was on his system playing some neo soul music on the same setup that you had there. So those were my two forays into the world of DJing.
Yeah. I mean, I encourage anyone who wants to really get into it to do it because it's a good thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
it's been over 40 something years for me, and I still have the passion.
And I can see, I mean, because now it seems like on Facebook now and on social media, you see a lot of DJs doing their thing on the internet on social media. Now, I guess that the credit for a lot of that could go to D Nice, because during the pandemic, he went on Instagram and had everybody from Michelle Obama to all people across the world checking in with him.
Yeah, that was a good thing.
Yeah,
that was a good heads up on his part.
yeah,
we were doing it, but he made it popular.
definitely, definitely did. So, is there anything that you'd like to any younger person that we do get some younger people that look at some of the videos, which is what I'm finding out. For any young person that wants to maybe get into DJing, anything that you'd have to say to them?
Yeah, I would say, YouTube is a beautiful thing, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you can learn a lot of things on YouTube. Like, I play golf. I'm always on YouTube trying to better my swing, but it still doesn't help. But if you're interested as a young person, have the passion first. Go on YouTube, study, learn the bases, and if you have quick twitch muscles and you like cutting, that's great because you can always implement that into your set. But I would say learn the bases, and then when I say by bases is transitioning, know and learn how to beat match. First with your ear, because you have a visual now with the
Right.
music program. You can see waveforms, and waveforms are depicted by the bigger the waveform is your heavier beat, like the bass beat, and a smaller one is your snare. So you'll get the doom ta doom ta. You can get a visual on the screen, but try to really learn it with your ear because that way you can listen to different sounds, different counts, measures, how music is constructed. So my thing is learn the music and then learn how to put it together. And you can get yourself a starter controller, a starter computer, and collect your music. It's a different ways you can stream. You can different streaming services, and if you're around somebody who's been in the game for a long time, feel free to come up and ask for advice. And
Absolutely.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Just like you did with George Gully back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah, no doubt.
All right. All right, man. Well, I'd like to thank you for being a part of the Buffalo History Channel.
Wow, that's all. I want more. Come on, you got more.
Well, we'll get more from you when we go to the parties when you spinning them sounds, brother.
I appreciate that, and then
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Cool.